Hey folks, Chuck Holton here. Welcome to another episode of the Hot Zone. Not very hot today. I just landed in Greece in a little village not too far from the airport, which is just outside of Athens, and waiting for my family to get here. My family we're all kind of headed over for our trip to Armenia, and we're going to Armenia we've got 25 people going, and it's going to be an awesome trip. It's going to be amazing. My son and daughter-in-law Rubina will be getting married on the 25th in Armenia, and so we're bringing 25 people with us. It's going to be really cool wedding, and I'm very excited about that. But on our way over here, you have to stop through somewhere. There's no direct flights to Yerevan, as you can imagine. And so we ended up going through Greece. There, you can basically getting to Yerevan. Getting to Yerevan, you can go through Vienna, Doha, Istanbul, or Athens. And my family all got good, cheap flights going through Istanbul, like $600 round trip. But I am avoiding Istanbul personally because Turkey does a tremendous amount of persecution of journalists. They're the number one country for jailing journalists. And so anybody that said anything bad about Turkey likely is going to have trouble in Istanbul. I've done a lot of negative reporting about Turkey and their assistance of Azerbaijan during the war in Artsakh, the Nagorno-Karabakh, back in 2020. I also did quite a bit of negative reporting about Syria, about Turkey in Syria, and the assistance that they've given to ISIS there. So I probably shouldn't go to Istanbul anytime soon. I've read an article about a couple of journalists from, I think, the Czech Republic who were inside the international zone in Istanbul and were picked up by the Secret Service there and put in jail. So I don't want to chance that. But my family won't have any problem there, so they're going through there. And I came direct from Washington, D.C. to Athens. Got here a few hours early. There was some weather delays in DC that put everybody behind about 3 hours. So my family missed their connection. They've got to take a later connection. And now I'm here waiting on them. And we'll spend a few days here enjoying Greece. Late spring in Greece is about as good as it gets. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to go to Greece, but I mean, it's famous for its beaches. And I'm not a beach guy. But if you had to go to a beach, going to the beach in Greece wouldn't be so bad. I do enjoy going out for an early morning swim before the sun gets up, but bright sunlight and I don't get along very well. Nevertheless, I know my family's going to love it, and so we put together a 3 or 4 day just kind of whirlwind tour, going to some of the best beaches in Greece and some places like Meteora, which I've been to before, but they haven't. So I'll be sending you some good video from that as we go along. Now, I did want to just mention a couple of interesting facts about Greece since we're here, and some of how it relates to the current events that are going on in the rest of the world. First of all, the United States just inked a deal with Greece to continue its access to military bases here in Greece for the indefinite future. Now, I don't know if you know that or not, but the United States has kept troops here in Greece for many years, especially in the island of Crete. We've had a naval base there, but we've also had troops up in the northern part of Greece and other places helping with training. We've got equipment up there. And I really believe when I was here last year with Michael Yon, and we were up on the Turkish border near Alexandropoli, we saw trainloads of U.S. armor moving around that area. And at the time, I didn't think it had anything to do with Russia. I still don't. I think it actually had more to do with Turkey. Now, Turkey is a NATO ally, and they're supposed to be our friends, but anybody that's been watching the news lately in the last 5 years knows that Turkey under Erdogan is not our friend, and they support ISIS. They have been weaponizing migrants along their border with Greece, threatening the EU by opening the floodgates and even tearing down fences and allowing migrants into the European Union via Greece. And so I thought at the time, and I still think, that the U.S. had positioned some armor there just to keep the peace, to keep Greece and Turkey from going at it, just as a kind of a deterrent. The United States keeps troops in a lot of places as a deterrent. One of the most, obvious is South Korea, where we have something like 29,000 troops stationed. They're not there to fight. They're just there because by being there, they keep North Korea from invading South Korea. And, they just act as a buffer. They have done that in Syria. They were doing that in Syria right up until Donald Trump pulled them out for the most part, but there are still some troops in Syria guarding the oil fields in the northeast of Syria and around in Deir ez-Zor, down in the southern part of Syria. We've got some troops there keeping a lid on ISIS. That's a little bit more of a combat deployment or, something along those lines, going after ISIS. But when we had guys stationed along the northern border in Greece, around Duhok, not Duhok, along the northern border between, I said Greece, Syria and Turkey, they were just there as a deterrent to keep Turkey from invading northern Syria and pushing out the Kurds, trying to keep the Kurds and the Syrians from killing each other, trying to keep the Turks and the Kurds from killing each other, trying to keep the Turks and the Greeks from killing each other. You see a pattern here. And we could have probably done the same thing in Ukraine if we had wanted to. If we had put our troops not in Ukraine, but in the Black Sea, along the Ukrainian coast, it might have kept Vladimir Putin from invading. There might have been some other things that we could have done as well to provide more of a deterrent. I think they tried. They sent troops up to the border, but they didn't want to send them into Ukraine, and that's probably good. Most Americans would agree with the fact that we don't need to be sending troops into Ukraine. But it's a garbage truck. Never fails when I do these things. Things get very noisy. Nevertheless, Greece is heavily involved with the United States troops, and their government is sort of a center right-leaning government, and so they wanted to cement that and solidify it, and so they voted pretty much overwhelmingly to increase and continue the cooperation with the U.S. military and NATO. Now, there are communist elements in Greece that are vehemently against any cooperation with NATO and vehemently against the United States because they're communist. So what do you expect? Those elements are themselves very closely tied to Russia. And so they actually take Russia's side in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, although the government of Greece has denounced Russia and has welcomed Ukrainian refugees to the tune of about 30,000 with open arms. Lots of Ukrainian refugees here. And also a lot of Russian refugees coming here. There's something like 15,000 Russians who have come here since the beginning of the war, from what I understand. Greece and Russia are very close because they both share the Orthodox Christian faith. They're kind of the two biggest Orthodox countries. And there are a lot of people in Greece who sort of believe that someday Russia is going to take Constantinople, as crazy as that sounds, which is Istanbul, right? They're going to take Istanbul and return it to Constantinople, to the Greeks, and make a sort of a new Byzantium empire. That's not going to happen. But that's sort of a conspiracy theory that's actually more common than you might think here in Greece. So there have been some big protests in Athens in the last week where they actually draped big banners up on the Acropolis denouncing the United States and the cooperation with the United States, denouncing the war in Ukraine and any assistance that Greece has given, which they've given some military assistance to Ukraine. This is a complicated and thorny topic. There's the moral element, which, Ukraine holds the high ground there because they didn't attack anybody. There's no moral high ground that Russia can claim, not legitimately, although they try. There is the political component, which is incredibly complex, a lot of power politics going on, and that sort of thing. And I don't even, that stuff is more of a distraction than anything. And then there's the human component of the suffering that's being caused, not just in Ukraine, but in Russia and even around the world because of this war. And it's affecting everybody. It's causing uproar and causing conflict and causing mayhem in many places around the globe. And that will only continue until this thing ends. When it ends is anybody's guess. But for the time being, I'm going to take a few days off and go pick up my family here in a little bit from the airport. And then we're going to enjoy a few days together before we go off to Armenia. So thanks for watching. If you want to support the podcast and support the reporting that I do and support the people that I'm reporting on, where we try to go and actually help people who are in the war zone, you can go to chuckholton.locals.com and you can subscribe there for a lot of extra content and enjoy that as well. So please like and share this podcast wherever you're watching or listening to it, and give us a review if you don't mind. I appreciate it. I'm Chuck Holton. Thanks for watching.